Welcome, welcome everybody. It is Tuesday, every Tuesday, 12 to 1 Eastern Time we come to you. Welcome to the home of JRA, and we're going to be making hay today, teaching you guys about customer acquisition cost. One of the most important metrics for you to track is CAC, customer acquisition cost. You need to know what it costs you to get a customer, and you need to make sure that the profits you get from that sale exceed the cost of what it takes you to get that customer, especially at the start when cash is tight, when you first get going and all the customers you have are brand new. You're not being able to take advantage of previous customers. Other thing we did talk about doing today that we can we'll cover a few on is if you want to submit your zip codes, we will actually cover, we'll go through and see if we can put together some pricing recommendations. Getting a good amount and charging enough for your service is critical for this CAC, this cost of customer acquisition. So let's go ahead and get started. We got anybody on the stream yet? Awesome. Okay, so everything's sound good? Good deal. Okay, so CAC, guys, customer acquisition cost. Aaron, if you want to pivot that over to the TV, we're going to try this out and see how it works. We good? Good deal. Okay. Customer acquisition cost. I have terrible handwriting, so we'll see if you guys can follow. All right, so what customer acquisition cost is that is what the amount of money it takes for you to acquire a customer. So, and how do you figure that? Easy enough. So what you're going to do to figure your customer acquisition cost, you're going to take the amount of money you spent for marketing divided by the number of customers that you acquired. So let's say you spent 100, or let's say you spent 100 or $10,000 as an example. Whoop, hold up here. I'm going crazy. We're trying out something new, y'all. Bear with me. Okay. All right, so we spent $1,000. And let's say of that $1,000, that $1,000 got us 10 customers. So in that case, your cost of customer acquisition is going to be $100. So what you need to know, what needs to happen here is your profit on your job needs to exceed $100. Otherwise, you're going to, by doing this advertising method, you're going to run out of money. So this is when pricing gets to be extremely critical, which we're going to cover. Again, give us your zip codes. We'll give you some pricing recommendations. So let me keep moving. Before we take some zip codes, Aaron, let's keep moving on for just a second because there's one other critical piece of here I want to go ahead and cover. What you have to do, you need to be able to figure your profit. So let's go through a typical, I'm going to jump around on my notes here. Let's go through typical expenses for a junk removal job. And I'm going to put this as an average job of $350. Now, here's what I know. Junk doctors we average about $350 on a job. And that's actually lower than what we want because I have information now that actually shows where college hunks hauling junk off averages throughout the country about $400. And then 1-800-GOT-JUNK, their average job is in excess of $450 now. So junk doctors, and we do a pretty good job. We got we've got good pricing. We're still about $100 less per job than got junk. It's crazy. That's got to go up. And then I do know that most other independent junk removal companies, you guys are probably averaging around $260 or $280 per job. And that's when this number becomes critical because what you're going to find is $260 and $280 is actually not allowing you to do a lot of advertising that actually cost you, where you'd have a higher CAC because you'd be losing money on every job. All right, so we're going to do an average job of $350. This thing's actually working out pretty good, Aaron. If I don't go off the screen. So that's an average job of $350. And all right, so your typical expenses, you're going to have auto expense. I'm going to get me a stylus next time because my finger's going to wear out doing this. That's normally going to be about 3%, which is going to equal about $10. And then we've got credit card fees. I'll tell you what, actually. All right, it's going to be about $7. Is all this stuff, I'm going to put percentages in here too, guys. Y'all pay attention to this because you're going to want to run it with your current job. We've then got disposal fees, typically about 8% or 9% is what I figured this at. Disposal fees come in at $31.50. All right, that should be $31.50, but it's not allowing me to put in the, what's going on here? There we go. Okay, here we are. My computer was acting up. Let's see, $31.50. Okay, we got a fuel cost in at 6%. That's 6% of income. That's going to cost you on average about $21. We've got insurance. That's workers' comp, automobile insurance. Every insurance you pay, you need to figure as a percentage of your job, because that's the only reason you have insurance. You wouldn't have insurance if you weren't making money. So insurance is going to be about 5%. This can vary depending on how long you've been in business. This is going to be higher if you're new in business. It's going to be lower if you've been in it longer. Insurance costs at 5%. You're going to be about 17. Okay, you've got labor. This is going to be your largest. Now this is you not on the truck. If you're on the truck, half this. Or close to half it. So you're going to be about 35% on labor. That's 2 guys you're paying on the truck. Again, 1/2 of this if you're on the truck. And that's going to run $122. And then any other tools, uniforms, any other miscellaneous expenses. People's uniforms, you need to provide uniforms. You need to be professional. That's going to, every time they use that uniform, that's going to need to get replaced. Trash bags, all that sort of stuff. You're going to have miscellaneous tools and other things going to run about 2%, which is $7. All right, so all this added up, I've already done the math, luckily. All of this, add up all these expenses. Whoops. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, for some reason didn't like it with it off as a tablet. Okay, all that adds up to is 215.5, guys. So that means 215.5 is your expense that you're going to have, not counting marketing, for your typical junk removal job. So what you got to do now is you got to figure out what's your allowable acquisition cost. And your allowable acquisition cost is the difference. So first thing we're going to figure here is going to be your margin. So what your allowable acquisition cost is what's left over between your the cost of your job and the expense of your job. So your allowable acquisition cost. If I'm misspelling this, I don't think I am, but it doesn't really matter anyway. We're not in spelling class. All right, your allowable acquisition cost in this case is going to be $350 minus 215.5. So your allowable acquisition cost is $134.5. So that means you could spend up to $134.50 per customer to acquire a customer and still make money on your very first time. What you must do, especially when you're brand new, is you always need to make sure that your allowable acquisition cost, that your cost of customer acquisition does not exceed your allowable acquisition cost. So an example above here, what we had was we had 34. If we had $100 is your customer acquisition cost, that means on each job you're making 34.5. Guys, what we're going to go to in a bit further here is actually talking about lifetime value as well, because 34.5 on a junk removal job, you're probably not getting extremely excited about. But what we're going to get into is what's going to happen is these customers are going to reuse you, and they're going to refer you, and then all those people they refer, then in turn going to reuse you. You're also going to get online reviews and such. So this is how you build a business. This is how you're going to scale a business. You're not going to scale a business by having extremely high margins, because you're not going to be able to reach enough people by those cheaper advertising methods. What kind of questions, comments we got? We got any zip codes? What we got, Aaron?
Yeah, we got a bunch of zip codes coming in. So I know we had talked to Kiff's Landscaping last time. That was one of the first ones we were going to get to. So Kiff's has 32955.
32955, and that's Kiff's Landscaping.
Kiff's Landscaping.
K-I-F-F?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Let me see if this is going to pull up. Of course it won't. Let's see. All right, bear with me, guys. Let me see if we can get this to appear on the screen up here. Ever since this last update, this thing has not worked. It doesn't cast the desktop anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to have to exit this and come back to it, I think. All right, 32955. Let me write this down so I don't forget our allowable acquisition cost when we come back. Okay. Okay, Rockledge, Florida. So let's see if we've got any local competitors in the area. So the easiest thing here is if you've got a Junk King, because Junk King actually posts pricing online. That's normally going to be your starting point. So let's go on to Junk King. We're going to go to their pricing estimator. 32955. Let's see if they service that area. They do service that area, so that's good. All right, that's going to make our job a bit easier here. Okay, so Junk King's minimum charge in this particular market is $88. It says 88 to 148, so we're going to go with their minimum is 88, which is low. I tell you one thing Junk King does is they normally they definitely do a little bit of bait and switch, because they show prices a lot cheaper online than what they actually get. All right, so then let's add in 6 pickup truck loads. It's going to put their full load rate at 558. So Junk King's full load rate is 558. Now they have an 18 cubic yard truck. 558 divided by 18, $31 per cubic yard. So let's figure this on a, he hadn't said his truck size, has he? Kiff Junk Removal, Florida. If he responds with his truck size, that'd be fantastic. He didn't. Kiff's Junk Removal right here. Let's see if he's got pricing online. Of course, it's not coming up, so bear with me just a moment. And actually, I don't need Junk King anymore, so we can do it off this tab. KiffsJunkRemoval.com. Okay, so we got Kiff's Junk Removal LLC right here. Has he given us pricing yet? Is he still on? Don't know. Okay. All right, so what I can do, I'm gonna look at his truck right here. That's a good picture of his truck right there. All right, so that truck, if he's filling up the bed of his truck as well as the trailer, that's actually probably daggone close to 15 cubic yards, which is gonna make this easy to figure because that's the size of our trucks. It might be a little smaller, but let's go with 15. So we got 31 times 15. If you're going to equal Junk King's price, that puts you at a full load rate of 465.
And Kiff's is on. Kiff's just said he started over the summer. He charges $350 for a full load. All
right. So yeah, Kiff's, you're going to be a bit cheap if you get into these more expensive. If your customer acquisition cost is going to get higher. So if you're going to do Google ads, if you're going to do Facebook ads. Even Home Advisor, your acquisition cost is probably going to, you're probably going to almost exceed your allowable acquisition cost. If you're doing Craigslist, guys, it doesn't mean you can't charge your Craigslist customers a different amount than you charge everybody else. Craigslist is going to be the cheapest customer acquisition cost out there. When you first get going, I would have a discounted rate for your Craigslist customers and have a more expensive rate for your Google customers, your ads customers, your Facebook customers, your Home Advisor customers. That way you're able to do that other form of more expensive advertising. Let's say this is a 15 cubic yard truck. That would put his full load rate at $465 on Junk King's prices. We normally exceed Junk King's prices. Junk King is normally cheaper. So normally College Hunks is going to be more expensive than us, and Got Junk is going to be more expensive than what we recommend, but we're going to be more expensive than Junk King. So at this $465 right here, you can also call College Hunks and Got Junk. We're not going to do this right now. I'd like to see this gentleman at a full load rate of about $495. And $495, what's nice when you have a smaller vehicle is $495, even though you're getting more per cubic yard, you're actually less. Junk King was at $558, so if your customer's comparing it pricing, and most people don't factor in truck size, even at $495 with a higher cost per cubic yard, you're actually less than that $558. Okay, so $495 divided by 15, that's going to put your cost per cubic yard at $33. And what we've got, guys, is we need to make this available on JunkRA.com, but if you type in on YouTube, junk removal pricing, what just happened here? This just kicked over into an app. I wonder why it did that. All right. Well, this ain't gonna work, is it? Okay. There is a pricing video that we did. All right, guys. So hey, today what we want to cover today is pricing. This is always one of the. All right. So we'll find about. Here we go. 7 minutes and 57 seconds in. One half load, they're at 60. It's not advancing my screen for some reason. Why? Because of this cast. 85. All right, let me see what I can do here. Okay, here we go. I think I can make do. All right, if you look on the screen here, guys, this starts at a minimum load. It goes up to a full load. I don't think, oh, it is working. It's working on the screen. I'm sorry. It's not working on mine, but it's working on yours. Or it's working up there. Okay. In their head. And of course now it's going to act up again. What it's doing here, guys, is you've got, all right, so his full load rate's $495. We're then giving a percentage of the full load rate, and I'm slightly unprepared here. All right, I had this written out. Okay. If it pops back up, let me know, Aaron. Okay. So 7/8 of a load is going to be, on this general scale, going to be like 97% of the full load rate. So 0.97 times 495. We're not going to do every single one of these price points, but 0.97 times 495 would be 480. So like a 7/8 load would be 480. Let's just hit 3/4 load, half load, quarter load, and minimum for time reasons. So half load is going to be coming in at 67% of your full load rate. So 0.67, one half load, I would recommend something like 330. I am going to put this up on screen in just one moment. 1/4 load is going to come in at 42% of your full load rate. So 1/4 load come in at about $200. It's $207. We'll say $200. And then the minimum load, your minimum, I'd probably for any other customers other than Craigslist, I'd probably set your minimum at $99. So, what was that app again?
AWW.
AWW app. All right, so let's go over here where we can draw. And this is not coming up on screen. We need to get this cast where it works better, Aaron.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's try resetting maybe the remote.
Well, are you on the same tab?
I'm on the same. Well, no, or am I not? Yeah, I think I am. Should be the same tab. You just restart it?
Yep.
Hey guys, while he's running through that, again, you can always check us out at junkremovalauthority.com. That's junkra.com. We provide Google Ads management services, search engine optimization, build websites, and offer general consulting and sell business packages. So anything we can do to help you, please let us know. We're still casting, and it's not letting me disconnect. What if I close this completely? It's gotten locked on for some reason here. There's no way to even disconnect. There it is. All right, so I disconnected there. All right. New window. Cast. Okay, here we are, back in business. Okay. All right. Sorry about that technical difficulties there, guys. Okay, so again, for Kiff's Landscaping, I recommend a minimum of $99. Recommend a quarter load of 200. Recommend 1/2 load of 330. Recommend didn't do a 3/4 load. Going to be something like 9 times 495. Something like 440 for a 3/4. And then the full load rate come in at 495. That right there is going to allow you to have a high enough customer acquisition cost. The percentages on this were roughly your minimum you're just going to pick out, and then you're going to do your 3/4 load is roughly 90%. Your 1/2 load is roughly 67%. Quarter load was somewhere around 40%. And then you've got that minimum load that you just select. That's of your full load rate. So that's a great way to figure your pricing. Let's continue on. We'll get some other zip codes here in just a minute and run through. Let's continue on customer acquisition cost. So let's use one of the things to think about. Let's see, your allowable customer acquisition cost, I believe, was 134. Yep, 134.5. So let's go back to this. 134.5 is allowable. As allowable acquisition cost, AAC. You've got a 34.5 margin if you're at $100. So you have 34.5 if it's costing you $100 per customer is your profit. So let's do a little math here. Let's say you want to profit $3,000 in a month. Well, what you know is on this particular job, to profit $3,000 in a month, you're going to need about 86 customers. So 134.5, in order for a $3,000 profit, you're going to need 86 customers. That's if these are brand new customers. 34.5 is going to leave you equals 86 customers you're going to need. So that's how you figure this, how you simplify this stuff, guys. If you want to figure out how much profit you're able to attain and what you want, you just take what your acquisition cost is, or you take the profit you desire divided by your profit, your margin after your acquisition cost at 34.5. In this case, you need 86 customers. Now, here's what's going to happen is over time, you're going to start adding in previous customers. So your previous customers, and this is where you start talking about the LTV, not loan to value for those of you that are used to borrowing money, but lifetime value. LTV is the lifetime value of customers. So what's going to happen is your customers are again going to reuse you and they're going to refer you, but let's just go on the repeat end. We find over about 60% of our jobs, close to 60% of the jobs we get now are repeat customers. So those are customers we're no longer having to pay for. That's why it's extremely important to set up like an email campaign and a postcard campaign to stay top of mind, so these people are not going to the old advertising routes, the expensive routes of you paying $100 or $80, whatever it is for a Google job. Instead, it's much cheaper to get them in an email campaign so they always remember you, and to send a thank you card at the end of the job so that helps them remember you. So the lifetime value of the customer is going to be your total margin that you're going to have for that customer for however long. So let's say a customer uses you once a year. This would be just a regular residential customer. You're going to have customers that use you multiple times every month as you get established and you get more contract customers. So let's say a customer uses you once a year. That means once a year you're going to profit 134.5, somewhere around that, because you're no longer having to pay for that initial job. So that first job you profited 34.5. And then from then on, let's say they do the next 5 years they do another job. So that's going to be 134.5, or next 4 years. 134.5 times 4 is 538. And that's going to be plus that first job of 34.5. You're going to have the margin on that is going to be 572.5. Your lifetime margin on that particular customer, or over 5 years, not lifetime, is 572.550. And you just got to think of this in exponential terms. So, I mean, if you had 100 customers over that time frame, that one customer, 572.5, or just those 100 customers, over 5 years, those 100 customers from that particular month, that's a $57,250 profit right there, guys. That is the lifetime, basically the lifetime value of that customer, $57,250. That's how you scale. That's how you grow. You take that little bit of not a loss, that less of a profit on that first job, and then you get them in a campaign so they come back and use you, and you're not having to get killed on acquisition costs from then on. That right there, that's attainable in about year 2, you should be getting, or year 3, you should be getting somewhere around 100 customers a month. So, I mean, you might half this when you first get started. That first month, if you look at that lifetime value, it's probably going to be about half of this. But now you can see how you can scale. So those of you that always are like, man, I don't want to go out there and work just for $37 for a customer, you got to look at the scale, the potential. You can't look at just the one job you do. You got to scale it, you got to grow it, and it's all about consistency. What other zip codes we got here, Aaron?
Yeah, next one up, we had Full Force Junk Removal, 23231. 23231, Full Force Junk Removal. We got a truck size on him by chance? No truck size, says it's Enrico, Virginia.
Okay, I wonder if Junk King is going to be in Enrico, Virginia. Okay, it's not going to show on the computer screen here, guys, but we're looking it up. I'm going to have you give me that zip code one more time in just 1 second. And who is this again? Which company?
This is Full Force Junk Removal.
Full Force Junk Removal in Virginia. Thanks for watching. Okay, what's that zip code?
That is 23231.
Is Junk King in the area? They are. Excellent. Okay, so Junk King in this area of Virginia has a minimum of 128. Their full load rate is 598. That is on a 18 cubic yard truck, so 598 divided by 18, $33 per cubic yard.
And we got a truck size from Full Force, a 14-foot trailer, XL bed for truck.
Okay, 14 foot. We got a width and a height on that?
Working on that right now. Full Force, can you get us that width and height?
Okay, so it was 14 foot long. We always need the width and the height. Do we have that yet?
Not yet. Still
Okay.
waiting on it. Full Force,
Okay.
can you get that in?
All right, so I'm going to improvise a little bit here unless it pops in. We're going to do 14 foot. I'm going to have it be 8 foot wide, and I'm going to have it have 4 foot sides. And that's going to come in at 16 and a half cubic yards. Might as well round that to 17 cubic yards. So on 17 cubic yards, if you were charging exactly what Junk King was charging, you would be That's 33 times 17. It's going to come in at $565 on a full load. But we're going to jump it up just a notch generally. So we're going to bring that 565, probably want to be somewhere around 590. So we'll take at a 590 full load. I'm going to come on over back to where you guys can actually see. So we got a 590 full load. So based off our typical numbers, we're going to want a 3/4 load at something of like 90%. 0.9 times 590. The more expensive you are, guys, on this, the more I'm going to back it down. So this is coming in at 531. I'm actually going to probably put this 3/4 load at 525. Half load is going to be 67%. Let's see, 90%. 67%. So we got 0.67 times the full load rate. 590. It's 395 on the half load. I'm going to back that down. I'm going to back it down to about 375. We got a 1/4 load, which 1/4 load, I think was, let me see here, about 40%. That thing keep cutting off, battery low or something?
No, it's
Okay.
it's a menu setting with the capture card, but we're switching out cameras, so it's not an issue.
0.4 times 590. That comes in at 236. I'm probably actually going to back this down to about 215. And then your minimum, it can be 99, 115, whatever you wanted. Let's just say at 99.
And we did get the size from Full Force as well.
What was it?
It's 6 feet wide, 4 feet high.
Okay, so this is going to be a little high for you. I'm not going to completely redo this. I was actually thinking it might be 6 foot wide. I should have gone with my initial gut. You're at 13 yards, so you're about 3 cubic yards smaller than what I calculated here. So 3 cubic yard difference. I came in at 17 yards. You're 4 cubic yard difference. 4 divided by 17 is that's a 24% difference. So if you take these prices and you lower them by 24%, then that's going to give you roughly the amount you would want to charge. So something like $450 on a full load. Again, take these numbers to 24% less. That's going to give you about what you need. So your 3/4 load rate, 525.24 times 525, it's 126 difference. Say minus 125. That'd be 400. Let me double check, make sure what I told you was correct. 400, 450. Yes. So your 3/4 load is going to want to be somewhere around $400. Again, guys, this is probably not for your Craigslist customers. This is going to be if you're doing Google Ads. This is going to be if you're doing Facebook. This is going to allow you to do those platforms. The platforms you guys say I can't afford to do, which you can at your current rates because what? You're exceeding your allowable acquisition costs. Your allowable acquisition costs on Google Ads might be $34. It might be $60. And the way you guys are charging, you're getting $100 less per load than you should. You can't do it. You'll never be able to do that type of advertising because you're going to run out of money. Get those prices up and you'll be golden. Guys, you've also got to have you need to have a great looking website. People make purchasing decisions now off of your online website and your reputation online. So how you appear on Home Advisor, how you appear on Angie's List, how you appear on Google reviews, that's how people make buying decisions. Well, that was Full Force Junk Removal, right?
Yep.
So we're going to pull his website up. We're going to, if this site needs something, I'm going to tell you right now. Full Force Junk Removal. Okay, one, I need to be able to find it. Let's type in Virginia. Here we are right here. Henrico, that was it, Henrico, Virginia. Let's pull up a site. Okay, definitely seen much worse. Here's one thing I will say. I'm going back to Google Ads, to Google My Business. This image here, get some people in there, get somebody in uniform, get a much better looking picture than just a bunch of garbage, or at least a logo. So get something other than just a bunch of stuff being your main image. This is probably a site done by. This is a GoDaddy template site. Okay, So here's, all right, so the good thing is you do have some faces. I would actually want to have faces of your employees though. I mean, this is a happy family here. Happy family. So, I mean, that's good. You got smiling faces, but I'd like to actually see who's going to come. If I'm a home buyer, if I'm a purchaser of a junk removal service, I want to know who's going to come to my location. So I'd like to get some pictures up there. Your pricing, let's go over here to the pricing page. It doesn't fully explain how you charge. So this is just, I mean, a small load, a medium load, a full load, of, you know, what does this mean? I don't know what this means. For example, let's go to Junk Doctors. Aaron, we also need to update our prices since we just had a price increase online.
For sure.
This is something brand new here. This actually gives a couple different images. This can actually be improved on some too. This is something brand new we're doing because these images need to be more in line of what's going on. We do also have a pricing estimator on our website. So if you're going to show pricing, you need to explain it. We also have a video we've done that has not yet been posted, that the video is actually going to also explain pricing, because you don't want to put out a bunch of pricing and people not be able to gather how much stuff you really have. So right here, I can scroll through a sixth of a load, 185. This is about what amount of stuff a sixth is. This is about what you can get on a half load. This is what you can get on a full load, so on and so forth. So this actually helps show how much space you're actually paying for with that full truckload rate. Okay, so let's go back to our drawing tool. What was it again, Aaron? I'm sorry.
AWW.
AWW, here it is. I was doing AAW. Okay, so we'll take a few more zip codes as we go along on this episode. We got about 20 minutes remaining. Why price and sales is so important should be pretty obvious at this point. The higher you can get that price, all right, I mean, let's just do this number. Let's say, for example, the average of most locally owned junk removal companies get per job is $280. You have $280 is the average price you normally get, average charge. And then let's do the exact same numbers. Let's say that you've got, let's figure out what your allowable acquisition is, your allowable acquisition cost, and we'll run it off of the numbers we had last time. I'm not going to go all the way through it. What I am going to do, though, is half the labor cost, because most of you guys are on the truck. So if you're on the truck, whereas your labor cost before was 35% of 350, I'm actually going to, all I'm going to do is I'm going to half this 122. 122 divided by 2 is going to put you at $61. So you're going to save $61. So whereas your margin before, actually I'm going to need to rerun these to make them at least somewhat accurate. Let's see, total expense was 215.5 less 61. All right, so that's going to put your job expense at 154, 280 minus, we'll say 155. Means your average profit per job is going to be 125. Now I'm aware some of you guys are not doing insurance. That's a mistake. So some of you guys are saving 5%, so you can add 5% back. Some of you guys are underinsured. Some of you guys are taking cash only. You're not taking credit card fees. So you've got some, this is might be a little bit, you might even make a little bit more per job on here, but let's go with this 125. This 125 is going to be your allowable acquisition cost. Your, that's your AAC. How many people we got watching? This stuff's a little drier today, but those of you that hang in there, it's really good material. Our number still up?
Not sure. I'm on the chat right now.
Okay, I got you. All right, no problem. So, guys, hang in here on this stuff because this is actually critical. This is a number that we did not pay attention to for a long time, and we made a lot of mistakes because of it. If you always keep in touch of this allowable acquisition cost, you're going to be really able to grow your business. So 125. So you've got a 20. In this case, even if you did Google Ads, and even if Google Ads costed you $100 per customer, you've still got a $25 difference in there. So you have a $25 margin after you pay your acquisition cost. So, but you know, 25. That's even. I mean, that's $10 less. That's 50% less. Not quite 50% less. That's significantly less than what you could have gotten before if your prices were higher. These numbers get even more impressive if you're still on the truck. So you can actually make some money. So like 34. All right. So before, if you get your average job up to 350, 34.5 plus 61, you're pushing $100 per profit per job if you're on the truck. So even if you're having to pay $100 for a customer, what you got to do is you have to sell yourself on value. You've got to have a professional presentation, because even at $100 per job, if you're on the truck, if you aren't paying two guys, you're making $100. Here, cross that out. That's going to confuse people. You're profiting $100 per job, even by paying $100 per job. And guys, that's going to excite a few more of you right there, because I mean, you do 20 jobs in a week. Then I mean, you're looking at $2,000 profit right there. So those you guys that $34 was turning you off, what you weren't thinking about also is that, you know, that should be on multiple trucks once you scale. You're going to be on the truck to start with, so you're looking at $100 profit per job. So in this case, let's do a little math. Let's say, we're going to continue using these numbers rather than Junk Doctor's numbers, because most of you guys are still on the truck. So $100 profit per job. Let's say, all right, I want to make $60,000 a year, so I want to profit $5,000 a month. 5,000, ain't no way they're going to be able to see this, but 5,000, oh, could they? 5,000 divided by 100. It means you got to do 50 jobs in 1 month, guys. 50 jobs in 1 month. Let's break that down further. That's 12 and a half jobs, 13 jobs every single week for you to make $60,000 a year with those numbers. So here's what you do. Once you determine, you don't want to jump in and spend crazy amounts of money at the start without knowing what the acquisition cost is for your area. $100 is a good average for Google Ads. We've seen some markets that are $40. We've seen some markets that are $120. It just depends on how your local market responds to Google Ads or to whatever advertising you're doing. Let's use Google Ads as an example, but this applies for Facebook. It applies for Home Advisor. Home Advisor is probably going to be less. Those of you that make calls quickly on Home Advisor, you're probably going to be 20% less per job cost than Google Ads. So you're looking at $80 per job or so on average there. That means you're making $120 per job. So you got to look at this as, what's my acquisition cost? How many jobs do I need to get? So let's go back to Google Ads. Let's say you start out with a $1,000 budget for Google Ads. This is low, guys. This is lower. We never want to see anybody at just $1,000, but we're going to use this because it's a nice, easy number. Let's say you're at $1,000 per Google job. And let's say this $1,000 in your particular market, let's say it actually brings you 12 jobs. It's going to be something like $83 per job, I believe. 1,000 divided by 12, $83 per job. So you have $83 per job. All right, you need to have been tracking what you've got your acquisition cost, so you need your margin now, which we knew at $100. I'm not going to go through tracking margin again. You need to back it up to do that. But we knew at $100 that your particular job was making you, or if your average is $350, guys, this is why it's, again, so important to get that average up. So you were making $100 on a $350 job. So now you're going to be making about $117 per job profit on this. And now, this is when it's fun. This is what all business is numbers, guys. Y'all complicate business too much. All it is numbers. So you got $117 profit. Let's say you look at your search impression share on Google, and let's say $1,000 is only having you show 33% of the time. All right, so that means you've got 67% more times you could show. So theoretically, whereas on here, all right, so if you did 12 jobs, 117 times 12, that's a profit of $1,404. 12 jobs is a profit of 1404. 1404 for 12 jobs. But you're only showing 33% of the time, guys. So you could theoretically make as much 12, let's see, you could be spending as much as, what is that, $3,000? Yeah, much as $3,000, which is going to yield you another 24 jobs. So off of Google Ads, you could theoretically get 36 jobs times 117 for profit. All right, so we've got, in this particular market, 36 jobs is your max potential based off these numbers that you had when you did your experiment at $1,000. 36 jobs times 117 is your job profit. $36 times 117, $42.12 per month potential just by doing a little bit of math. That has you, just this one form of advertising, this is nothing else. That has you at a year, it's going to be close to $50,000 a year. It is $50,000. $50,000 a year right there. That is an income every year of $50,000 right there. Just by doing a little math, guys. Knowing your numbers, knowing what that acquisition cost is, and knowing what you profit per job, 36 jobs at $117 profit per job gives you $50,000 a year. So what happens, you say, all right, well, I'm not satisfied with $50,000 a year. I want to make $100,000 a year. Well, this is when you got to go to multiple advertising avenues, is what I would do first, or expand your service area. But let's go with multiple advertising avenues. Let's say you come in and let's say where Google was costing you, I didn't do that on 100, I did it on 83. Let's say Home Advisor comes in and Home Advisor is costing you 70. Same thing here, guys. So we were making 117 on an $83 average. We're going to be making $13 more, 117 plus 13. So you got $130. Profit per job on Home Advisor. And you do a little test run. Let's say I'm going to do $500. I want to do $500 to Home Advisor to see what that brings me. So $500 on Home Advisor. If it's costing you $70 per job, is going to be 7 jobs you're going to get from Home Advisor per month at a $130 profit. So times 130, 7 times 130, $910. You just got yourself about a $10,000 a year raise by spending $500 a month on Home Advisor. Now, you've got to make sure, so you can I would use 70 as a decent figure. 70 to 80 on Home Advisor is a decent figure. I'd use $100 on Google Ads when you're doing your averages here to figure. What you need to do is you need to try it out for about a month, see where that leaves you for a month, and see if that margin is where you need to be for that month. And if it is, you continue doing it. Now, one thing you do need to add is, for example, with Google Ads with us, we charge $750 a month on Google Ads, so that would get added in on your cost. But we don't really want to work with somebody if all they want to spend is $1,000. We'd like to see you closer to $2,000. Here's what I'm going to do. If you send me an email, lee@JRA.com, Shane, our ads manager, is going to kill us for this. If you want to try out Google Ads, we need to do something so people know about this. And I need to go ahead and say it before I change my mind. If you want to try out Google Ads on a $1,000 budget, for the very first month, we'll charge you $350. $350 for the first month, so you can try it out. So that's going to be $1,350. So we need to run numbers on $1,350. That's a deal we're going to offer. Email lee@JRA.com if you want to take advantage of that. It's going to save you $400 off our management fee. You're going to get you're going to get the most efficient ads campaign out there. And I tell you what, I will also personally assist you on tracking your customer acquisition costs and help you get your prices up also. Take advantage of that offer. I'll include an hour's worth of consulting for anybody that takes advantage of that offer right there. Just need to email lee@JRA.com or comment that you're interested by putting your email address in on the comments on YouTube. We'll reach out to you. Okay. All this is, guys, is math. I'm not going to go into any more, but you can see where this goes. So here's what you need to do, and I am going to write this on here. You need to experiment different advertising methods. Craigslist is going to be your cheapest. All new companies, if you go out and buy a business package, if you have a lot of extra money, you might be able to skip Craigslist. But I recommend all new companies start out, the first thing they do is Craigslist. You do a couple ads a day. Say you spend 20 bucks a day on Craigslist. Figure out how many jobs that's getting you. Figure out your acquisition cost. Figure out your average job cost. And then you move on to the next. So Craigslist is your cheapest. Let's say Home Advisor. Let's put Home Advisor as your next cheapest. Everybody hates Home Advisor. Everybody knocks on Home Advisor. But Home Advisor, let's put that, let's say it's your next cheapest. And it's probably like Facebook Buy, Sell, Trade. Guys, I know y'all can get on there. Facebook Buy, Sell, Trade for free and make great money. So, I mean, you're going to want to be on Facebook Buy, Sell, Trade. You want to start with the cheapest acquisition cost and then work your way up the list. You know, so you're going to start at the bottom. Craigslist is going to be the cheapest. Well, Facebook Buy, Sell, Trade is free. Craigslist. And then you've got Home Advisor, Google Ads. Then you've got Facebook ads. Moving your way on down the list. But, I mean, within there, too, we've got yard signs. We've got SEO. SEO is a weird one. SEO is going to be way up top at the start, and it's going to come down toward the bottom of the middle as your SEO scores improve. Print advertising is going to be fairly high up, but you still want to work up to it. You've maximized. Once you've maximized, you're showing as much as you possibly can. You're spending as much money as you possibly can on all those other methods. Then, all right, let's look like junk doctors. We're at that way now, so we're at the point now. We're looking at radio. We're looking at TV. They're way up here. But we've maxed out the lower stuff. So you start out at the bottom, you work your way up. So once you've gotten to Home Advisor, use a basis of something like $80 per job. All right, so you go in there, you experiment with $500. You figure out, hey, this is working. You call up your Home Advisor rep. What is the maximum amount of money I can spend with you guys? And they're going to tell you some figure. Don't pay that figure at the start because, you know, who knows what kind of bogus leads they're going to start sending you if you tell them a really high number. But you double it. You say, all right, I'm spending $500 on Home Advisor. Let's spend $1,000 on Home Advisor. And then you monitor. So you experiment. And then you need to monitor every single daggone week. Every week, what is my acquisition cost? And if things are looking good, if that acquisition cost hadn't started to get up at the end of the month, you say, well, shoot, Home Advisor, will y'all let me spend $1,500 with you? And if they'll let you spend $1,500, you keep on working your way up the list, guys. And then once you get to the point where that particular avenue has maximized, then you begin spending more money on a different avenue. But you need to experiment. What I was talking about experimenting too was not only changing the amount you spend, but also experimenting between Google Ads, experimenting between Home Advisor, experimenting between Facebook, and figuring out what works in your market. What works in Raleigh, North Carolina, what works in Rochester, New York, might not be the exact same thing. So what I mean is if Google Ads works great in Greensboro, Raleigh, it might not work as well in some other areas it does Home Advisor. So what you need to do is figure out what's your lowest acquisition cost by experimenting, and we'll assist you with this if you want to work with us on this. This is something we're about to roll out. We're actually going to help people track different avenues. And then what you do is once you figure out, all right, Home Advisor's less, you shift your budget. You might even eliminate at that point. You might do no Google Ads at all until you've maxed out your Home Advisor budget. Then you come in with Google Ads. So if you run that experiment, if you're disciplined, if you go about it analytically, instead of just shooting from the hip, you know, if you actually have some rhyme and reason to this, all business is numbers, and you're going to grow a successful company. Again, guys, $350 will be the management fee. I will include an hour's worth of consulting on a $1,000 budget. If you want to spend $2,000, it's going to be the full. Well, we'll give you all a discount too. We'll put it at $500 for the full $2,000. Okay. What kind of zip codes we got? I'm about done on. I think we're going to put out a much more in-depth and focused customer acquisition video later. So those of you that want to really dial in your customer acquisition costs, watch that. I'd like to, we're coming up on an hour now, so I'd like to take any questions we got. Let's skip a few zip codes right now. We might do one more, but what kind of questions do we have? Any questions at all?
Our questions are pretty much just the zip codes for today.
Okay.
So the next zip code that's up was Supreme Empire junk removal. That's 89081 in Vegas.
89081.
That's it.
In Vegas, 89081. That's where Shane's at. Our ads manager is in Vegas right now. Okay, so let's go to Junk King. $89081. I'm sure Junk King is in that area. They are. So by truckload, we've got a truck size on him.
No truck size on him. I've got.
Hey guys, anybody that was giving us a zip code, also give us your truck size also, so we can get you accurate numbers.
Supreme Empire, if you can get us the truck size. I do have two zip codes with truck sizes if you want.
Okay, bear with me one moment. Let's see if he responds. Minimum load in his area is 108.
And 15 cubic yards.
50, awesome, makes it easy. Full load is the full load rate for Junk King in your area, 568. Assuming they're not lying online, I wouldn't put it past them. I better be careful. I'm gonna get a slander charge or something like that by talking bad. 568 full load. So on 18 cubic yards, 568 divided by 18, it's $31 per cubic yard. So on a 15-yard truck, exact same as Junk King, you'd be at 465 full load. We're going to bump you on up to 495. So that is going to, we already did a 495 earlier. We'll do it one more time though, because that was when I was all discombobulated at the beginning. Okay, so 495. And what company is this again? Supreme?
Yeah, this is Supreme Empire junk removal.
Supreme Empire junk removal. Out of Vegas. Okay, so Supreme Empire, your full load rate that I would recommend with a 15 cubic yard truck is $495. Your 3/4 load rate, and guys, also we do 1/8 load, 6 load, 1/3 load, 3/8 load, so on and so forth, but for time reasons, I'm splitting this. You can check out that junk removal pricing video we posted on YouTube to get that chart for better information. So again, 90%, 0.9 times 495 is 445. I'm gonna put it at 440. I'm gonna put the half load, that's gonna be 67%. So 0.67 times 495, that's 330. Oh, bear with me one moment here, guys. Okay. All right, your quarter load is going to be 40%. 0.4 times 495, so basically $200. And your minimum, whatever you want to charge, 99. I wouldn't go any less than 99 if you can, or 85 at the bare minimum. Let's say 99. So these are the price points we recommend right here. And then what you'll do, check out that pricing video to fill them in. Let's check his website out though. Supreme Empire Junk Removal. So 99 minimum, 200 quarter load, 330 half load, 440 3/4 load, 495 on a full load there, Supreme. Let's check out your website, Supreme Empire Junk Removal. Let's type in Las Vegas. Las Vegas. There we are. Good reviews there, Supreme. That's great. That's going to help you out. Better picture than the last one. It's got your truck in it. It's better than just a pile of stuff. Again, on this right here, Try and hire a professional photographer to really come out there and take a great picture. Get yourself in there in uniform. If you wear uniforms, you need to be in uniforms. Because that is going to help you get more per job, which I've shown is critical for how large you can grow your company and for how much you can advertise. Okay, Supreme, good colors on your site. Again, no people. I would add, there's somebody, we got a video. It's good to have a video. A lot of people do watch these videos. Let me play it right here. Okay, that's coming in. That's coming in pretty broken. That's on our end though, not on the website end. So it's good to have a video in there. You've got pricing. I would do a better job on explaining your rates. This up here, a lot of people aren't going to read that text, so I would get something in it to be a bit more, bit clearer. I would also, instead of showing a picture of your trailer, that's hard. That helps. But I would love to actually have it drawn in, similar to how we do different items, where people can actually visualize how much stuff you're truly talking about it. I absolutely, on your site, that's great, having book now buttons, that's done correctly. Yeah, I mean, overall, not a terrible site. It's got some good conversion stuff in it. Got phone number up top. Not looking at it on mobile. Not a bad site. And do a little bit to improve the appearance of it, just some of the little design elements. I think you can actually wind up charging more, which will help you, I don't know if you're doing Google Ads or not, but that will help you do even more advertising. Yeah, man, I like it. Okay, what other zip codes we got?
Sure thing. Walligon, if you're still on, we'll need your truck size, but we've got one for now with the truck size, and that's Good Karma. And Good Karma says they're based in one zip code, but their target zip code is 43017. 43017. Okay, I'm not positive. I can't remember in his area if Junk King's in his area or not, so I might have to do some old-fashioned. I don't know if we have enough time for me to go through how I need to, because we would need disposal rates and everything as well. 43017. Let's see if Junk King is in that area. Come on. And he has a 9.15 cubic yard trailer.
9 point what?
15.
All right, we'll put that at 9 yards. Okay, 43017. Junk King is in that area, so that's great. We have a 9 cubic yard trailer. This is E-Karma Recycling, somewhere in Ohio, I believe. Mike McKinnister. So minimum load for Junk King is, this isn't up there, I know that. So minimum load is 98 for Junk King. Their full load rate is 588. So 588 divided by 18 yards, that's their truck size. All right, 588 divided by 18 is $32 per cubic yard. So you're going to take that 32. Guys, this is when a smaller size actually hurts you, because this isn't going to work as well for a 9 cubic yard truck. As far as, because what happens is we're going to still be using this full load rate of 32 for a 9 yard truck, but really your cost per cubic yard on a half load, so let's say a 9 divided by 18 in their case, that's Junk King's half load. So let's, out of curiosity, their half load rate is 388. So 388 divided by 9 is $43 per cubic yard. So Mike, when you figure your pricing, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to figure it somewhat off of Junk King's full load rate, because not your full load is their half load. So they're at $43 per cubic yard. You need to get a larger. You do need to get a larger vehicle, but we're going to base this off of 43 per cubic yard. So we have 9 times 43. That would be 387 on a full load. One of the things you do face here is when you do have a smaller truck, sometimes it is a little bit more difficult to get a larger volume, larger rate. I'm actually unlike in everything else with everybody with larger trucks, I'm actually gonna bump this. We can either go to 375 or go to 400. It depends on what you want to sell, or 395. Let's actually increase it some. We'll go to 395, Mike. So that'll put your full load rate at 395. Your half load, or excuse me, your, let me go back over here to my, that way you can actually see this. All right, so e-Karma, or Good Karma, e-cycling, Good Karma, Good Karma. We probably ought to start paying for this thing so we don't get this advertising at the bottom, especially since we're advertising a moving company. All right, let's see, full. This is on 9 yards. Full load for Good Karma, 395. Your 3/4 load, 90%. All right, we're going to have to back these numbers down a bit quicker because your truck's smaller. So 0.9 times 395. That's got a 3/4 load rate of 355. We're going to have to get that down. So that's going to have to come on down to probably like 315. Your half load rate is normally 67%. It's actually going to be a lot lower. 0.67 times 395. 264 on the half load. I'm going to put your half load probably somewhere around, probably about 200, well no, 200 would be exactly half, probably about 220. And then quarter load, your quarter load is normally 40%, it's going to have to be a lot less. 40%, so 0.4 times 395. Comes in at 158. I'd probably put that, you know what, that's probably fairly close, 150. That's probably about right. Something like, because I mean, a quarter load on your truck is going to be like 1/8 of a load on a Junk King truck. So that's about right. So right there, these are pretty good numbers. They maybe are a bit lower than you could really get depending on your market. Mike, respond on there. If we got another zip code, I'll run through one more. And then, Mike, respond on there, though, and let me know how close that is to your current pricing. It'd be interesting to see what you currently charge. All right, last zip code, last one here today, guys.
And Mike may not be able to respond. He said he's still listening, but he wasn't able to watch anymore right now, so I think he's on a job.
On a job. Awesome. That's good. That's good.
We do have one more with a size on it. That's Kendall Timms.
Kendall, hey, Kendall, what's going on, man? You booked 2 jobs yesterday with us. That's awesome. All right, what we got?
So Kendall Timms wanted to target 77051.
77051.
And with his trailer, 16 by 8 by 5.
16 by 8 by 5. Awesome. Kendall, thanks for watching, man, and we really appreciate your business too. 16 by 8 by 5. So we're going to go to a cubic yard calculator. You type in cubic yard calculator on Google. Calculator soup. All right, so change the depth over to foot, 16 by 8 by 5. So we got 5 foot in depth. We have got 16 foot in length. Kendall, give me your current pricing too on your full load. We've got 8 foot in width. You got a big one. All right, so we got 24 cubic yards basically. 24 cubic yards. I like seeing people only have about 20 yards if you're going to charge by space because it's easier to explain to customers. 24 cubic yards, but 24 is still small enough you can still make this work. So let's go over to Junk King. I'm actually going to go where you guys can see it this time. So junk-king.com. We need to get this on our website so we don't have to promote Junk King anymore. We'll have to get this programmed out.
And Mike actually just checked back in, said, thanks guys so much. I normally charge $300 to $400, but I do understand now why sometimes that costs more and sometimes less.
Yeah, I mean, try and get on the high end, man. You know, and maybe you can charge more. You would know, but obviously, the more you can charge, the more you can advertise, the more expensive advertising you can do, the quicker you're going to be able to get off the truck. Everybody that wants to talk to me, or everybody that talks to me, is like, how can I get off the truck? How can I get off the truck? And you got to get your prices up. You get your prices up, you're able to make money without you on the truck, so you're able to get off the truck. All right, so pricing. We'll go to pricing estimator. And the only way to get your prices up again, guys, you got to be professional. You got to look professional. Start it out on the web, then make it professional. Professional trucks, professional uniforms, professional people. All right, Mr. Timms, Kendall Timms, 77051. All right, did that go through? Yes, it did. Okay, so then we're going to switch over to buy truckload. You start out with add half truckload to get the minimum. Their minimum in your area is 138. We're going to reset that. Then we're going to add in 6 full loads. That's going to, or 6 pickup truck loads. Their full load rate, Kendall, is 558. Divide that by 18. $31 per cubic yard. All right, we'll pull up our handy dandy app right here. So 31 per yard. Kendall's got a 24-yard truck. So 31, if he's at Junk King prices, 31 times 24. You're going to be at a 744 full load. So here's what happens. Just as when you're a smaller, when your full load is smaller, you're going to charge a bit more per cubic yard. When your full load is larger, so when you have more cubic yards than Junk King, with that significant of a difference, you're actually going to lower your per cubic yard rate. So at a full load rate, it came out to 744. Kendall, I would actually probably recommend a full load rate of about 695 in your case. So, and you got to run numbers. So what you do is you set these prices like this and you figure out how your percentages and your profits coming, and then you adjust accordingly. So if 695 you can't make good money, then you move on. So, or you raise prices. If you are making great money and you feel like by lowering some prices you might actually be able to, that camera is the one I'm looking at? Okay, gotcha. I was confused here. I guess that makes sense. Then you can lower, and you think you might get more customers by lowering prices, you lower them. Guys, we have never once, not in the entire time we've been in business, have we ever seen a price increase negatively affect the amount of customers we get. We just had one. We went from 515 to 545 on the full load. We went from 115 to 125 on the minimum, no pushback. If anything, we're booking more jobs. And we've lowered prices one time, it never picked up. So by lowering rates, we never got more customers. So I'm going to dispute a lot of that theory. A lot of what you get on junk removal is if you answer the phone, and it's how you sell your services, and it's the perceived value. So it's how you present yourself online, how you present yourself on phone, how you present yourself in person. Full load rate, $6.95. 3/4 load rate is going to be 90%. 0.9 times $6.95, something like $6.25. We might even lower that a little, down to $6.15. Your half load, 67%, 0.67 times $6.95, $4.65. Probably lower this to about $4.20. And then 1/4 load, 40%, 0.4 times $6.95, $2.78. And we're going to lower that quarter load down. I'd like to get that quarter load down to close to about $2.30. And then you're going to have, you're also going to have a 1/6, a 1/3, an 1/8, so on and so forth. But your minimum, Kendall, just like everybody, minimum should be like a single item pickup. That's about it. Minimum load, 85, 99, 115, maybe $99. So this right here is pricing for Mr. Kendall Timms down in Texas. 99 minimum, 230 quarter load, 420 half load, 615 3/4 load, 695 for a full. Try it out, Kendall. See how it works. What was his current pricing?
I can get it up on his website, but I don't have it offhand.
Oh, that's right. Hell, we do the website. I'll pull it up there. What is his site again, Aaron?
Genie Junk.
Genie Junk. That's right. I was drawing a blank. Genie Junk. Okay. Genie Junk Removal. I'm doing Genie Junk. GenieJunkRemoval.com. Leave this. Don't want to register. Okay, here we are. So Kendall, full load rate. will you make sure this is accurate? He's got his full load rate at 450. Kendall, we need to get your prices up for sure. Your acquisition cost is very low, but I'd love to see you get these prices up a bit more. Feel free to schedule a call with me. I'll go ahead and we'll include a consulting call in and see if we can get your prices up some. See how it goes. So I know you're booking a bunch of jobs, and that's great. But I'd love to see these margins up a bit more, so you're making a bit more money. Okay. Any last questions? I don't want to do any more zip codes. We got any more questions or anything?
Yeah, we got 2 questions here. The first one is from David Houston, who asks, does median income affect advertising decisions in an individual market?
I used to think it did. His name was David. Is that right? I used to think it did, David, but really the main thing that's going to affect, all right, your pricing, your junk removal pricing is going to be determined based on your expenses. So you can look at Junk King. Junk King's already done the numbers. They've been in operation. That's the reason we use Junk King. But what you charge is going to be based on your disposal fees, your labor cost, what your expenses are. Your advertising, what can happen is your cost per click in less competitive markets. So if you're in a market where your median income is lower, there's going to be less demand and people are going to be willing to spend less on pay-per-click advertising. So you're actually going to see, most likely in a less competitive market, you're going to see a reduction in cost per click. Whereas a cost per click in a competitive market might be $13, it might be $4 or $5 in a less competitive market. That doesn't necessarily, and as far as how much you budget to spend, there's going to be less you can spend. So meaning in San Francisco, California, you could probably spend $20,000 a month on Google Ads if you wanted to. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you might be limited to $2,500 a month. So you're just not going to be able to spend that much because there's going to be a lot less people that click. So what happens is you still run the same exact numbers. You figure your acquisition costs, you figure your allowable acquisition costs, you determine your margin, you determine your average job cost, and then you maximize it. So what's going to happen is, whereas in San Francisco, you can make your way all the way up to $20,000 a month and spend before you move on to Facebook advertising or radio or TV or whatever. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you're probably going to hit $2,000 relatively quickly on Google Ads. So that's the maximum you can spend. You're at 100% impression share. So then you move on to Facebook ads, you move on to TV, you move on to radio, you move on to print a lot sooner because you've maxed out one medium.
So Serpto X's World asks if we know if Florida requires a business license for junk removal. Couldn't find the info anywhere.
All right, so I'm not 100% positive, but I do know if you're in the Tampa area, Tampa has some crazy law where they actually want you to spend a certain percentage of your revenue back to Tampa. And it's high, it's like 10%. So they want whatever you make. If you make $1 million, Tampa wants to take $100,000 of it. So if you're in Tampa, that's a hard area to operate if you're going to operate legally because it's crazy. That law was put into a place for trash trucks, for garbage trucks, but they're enforcing it on junk removal businesses. That's nuts. Hit that camera right there and just cut off. All right, what you got?
All right. So Edwidge Paul chimed in and said Florida does. So thank you, Edwidge.
Thank you.
Or Edwiga. And then Kendall Timms was also following up and saying, what if the competition is lower? I'd already responded, you don't want to get in a race to the bottom, but if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, again, Kendall, especially working with us, you're coming up top, so you're catching a lot of people that aren't really price shopping. If you determine, and there's a way we can actually assist you with setting this up. If you're advertising on Craigslist, you're not going to be able to charge these higher prices on Craigslist. So we can actually assist you, if you'd like, with a forwarding number where you'll actually be able to tell if the call's coming from Google Ads, and then you'll have Google Ads prices and you'll have Craigslist prices. And guys, there's nothing unfair about that. It's costing you more to get the Google customer than it is the Craigslist customer, so have two different price levels. So on Craigslist, Kendall, keep your prices low, maybe where they are. On Google, there's definitely room to go up. One of the things that's affecting you is you have a 24-yard truck, whereas a lot of your competition has a 15 or 18 cubic yard truck. So their full load rate sounds less. At 450, you're less. I believe you're under what Junk King was, and you have 7 cubic yard or 6 cubic yards more. So the prices definitely need to go up some. Let's get those margins up higher. What else we got?
We got a question from Casey Emmets on Facebook. Is there a way to find out what the people in my area are spending on AdWords? I did ask for clarification if it's cost per click or in total, but we can run with either.
Google has some estimating tools, but we've never found them to be very, really accurate. I mean, you can get in there and you just kind of figure out what's the cost per click. Now, part of it is a quality score if you've got equal quality scores. So if you get like an 8 out of 10 quality score, then you just run your cost per click up so you take that number one average position, and then you're going to figure out, all right, this is more, you're spending a bit more than the guy that's in second and third. So then if you want to figure out what the guy in third's spending, you lower your CPC to where you take that second position, and then you're going to understand, okay, this is more than the guy in third. So then you can further get assistance by continuing to lower that bid. So you lower that bid till the guy that's beneath you takes your position, and you only lower it like 25 cents at a time. Maybe you lower it a couple dollars at a time, you lose that position, and then you start bumping it back up 25 cents. But be kind of, have a process to it, and what you'll figure out is, all right, what's the minimum amount that I need to do to take the top spot, and what's the maximum amount that I spend to take that spot beneath. And that right there is going to be about the same. Those two numbers, you'll figure out those numbers, and you'll figure out what your competitors are spending for that particular keyword. It takes time, though. There's no way you can just type into Google and figure out what it is.
Cool. So far, that's the questions.
Awesome. Okay.
Casey, hold on one second.
Okay.
Casey Emmets did get back with, I'm only trying to run ads to one county, and I want to know if it's possible and how I would find the budget.
Yeah, we could further assist. Get a zip code on it. You know what? This is actually almost for a different episode. We might go live, guys. We'll let everybody know. We'll actually get Shane on here when Shane gets back in town. Him and I will go live. We'll actually go into AdWords and we'll actually show how to set up different campaigns and all that kind of stuff. Yes, targeting a county is possible. When you set your map, you just need to type in the name of your county. It'll pop up and make sure you're targeting only that county. The other thing is you need to make sure you're only targeting for searchers within that county. There's a setting, it defaults to the other setting too, and I'm sorry, I should know this, but I can't remember the word and I can't remember the setting. Shane sets up campaigns now and it's changed since I used to actually get in there and do it on my own. It defaults to, let's say if you only want to show in Dallas, Texas, the default setting will actually have you show for any time anybody with anywhere throughout the country types in junk removal Dallas. There's a small community in North Carolina called Dallas, North Carolina. You do not want to be paying for searches in Dallas, Texas for people that are searching for stuff in Dallas, North Carolina. So make sure you get that setting correctly. Shane and I will go live. If we're going to do it, we're going to San Francisco next week, so it's going to have to be Friday. We'll see if we can make it happen on Friday. If we can, it's going to have to be next week. Shane and I will go live, and we'll actually help people out on ads campaigns. We will announce that beforehand. Guys, we need to go ahead and wrap everything up. We're almost an hour and a half in on this live. Appreciate everybody watching. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 noon to 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Please tune in. We'll be back on Thursday. Remember that deal, what did I tell people? $350 on management fee. That's normally $750 for your very first month of ads. We're going to let you do a trial run. If you're willing to spend, if you're going to be $1,000 or under. So now, guys, your returns are going to be way limited at $500. If you're going to try out Google Ads, try it out at $1,000. We'll be back on Thursday, 12 to 1. Check us out at junkremovalauthority.com. Again, I am Lee Godbold, and this has been Making Hay with JRA.